So we'll see in my. And you got it. I'll just do that. How's that?
I think we're live now.
Okay.
So Mr. Liberty's out here. Mr. Liberty, can you hear me and Kevin? Hey, Mr. Liberty.
Is this going over YouTube or what is this doing?
Yes, it does. I've been doing these. Okay. So Mr. Liberty says he can hear both of us. Yeah, it'll go to my channel, and so I've been doing these with FLP and Finger Lakes Prepper. They do like Prepper Roundtable, and I think it's a good idea for people to talk and bounce ideas off of other people.
Okay. Trying to get me a little stand set up here. Using a bag of Mylar. There we go. Bag of oxygen absorbers. There we go.
I call this interview with a prepper. I had a few questions for you. If you don't like one of them, you just say denied, and we'll go on. Or we're just a lot of times people just shoot the bull. But
no, is this going to be streamed on YouTube or what are you doing?
Yeah, it's live streaming now.
Oh, is it? Okay, cool.
But I ain't got a lot of viewers. I was hoping you'd put out a plug that you got like 30,000. But anyway, I guess we'll get started. So what prompted you to create the survivalistboards.com there? I found it, I think, in 2010.
Back 2010 Survivalist. Oh, I created Survivalist Boards forum has been online since like what is this 2006 2005, and I just wanted to create a forum that was a blend of everything else, and I thought I could do it better. And so then I started the YouTube channel and just kind of because I looked at the forums that were online at the time, and I liked one thing about one forum, one thing about another forum. I said, well, you take this from this one and this one from that one, and then put them all together, and that's what we've got.
Yeah.
So it was just. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was in Iraq 2010 when I found your forum, and I actually had the last month I was in Iraq. I had internet in my chew, and I didn't have a lot to do that month.
Yeah, whenever you said that you were in Kuwait or something, I said, man, that was 1990, 1991, and I didn't know that we still had a base over there.
Yeah, it's still a staging area for logistic operations in the Middle East.
Okay.
I was there in 2012-13, and I did 2 tours of Iraq, one in 2005 and one in 2009 and 10. But
okay. Yeah, the main reason why I started a forum was I felt that I could create a community, a well-rounded community. And a lot of the forums out there are created by people that just really don't have an emotional investment into the topic that they're doing. They may have a little bit of investment, but I've been doing this stuff like hunting and fishing and gardening, and ever since I was a kid. One time my dad, whenever I was a young man, my kids were just probably 4 or 5 years old. We grew so many purple hull peas. It filled up the bed of a short wheelbase Chevrolet truck. Filled up the bed of a short wheelbase Chevrolet truck with purple hull peas. That's how many peas we grew. And it was like, then you've got peas. So I was like, well, how does that? And then you've got people in the city that don't even know anything about gardening. And so I was like, well, I'm going to take what I know that I've been raised around my whole life, and I'm going to build a forum based around it. Are we showing our dogs? Hang on. Come on, Zoe.
Yeah.
Come on, Zoe. Say hi to everybody, Zoe. Zoe's a rescue. I picked her up off the side of the road with her brother.
I tell everybody it's my emotional support dog.
Well, who all do we have out there? Hey, y'all, go on. Go. No, this is going to be live stream. This is going to be saved on your YouTube account, right? On your channel?
Yeah. You kind of answered the second question there. I was going to ask you about, what got you into the preparedness thing. And I think that's a lot of people. You grow up hunting and fishing, or people out in the country.
Yeah.
That's kind of, grow up around older people.
My granny had a milk cow. I helped her milk the cow. I mean, they had salt blocks out there in the barn. How many of us have went out to a barn and licked a salt block that the cows eat?
Can't say that I've done that.
Yeah, I've done that a few times too. And you take somebody that was introduced, I was introduced to self-reliance. I'm talking as soon as I was born, my granny on my dad's side and my papa on my dad's side and my grandfather on my mom's side. I remember my grandfather on my mom's side and my grandmother growing strawberries whenever I was like 3 and 4 years old. And then my granny and papa on my dad's side had the fig trees, had the garden, had the watermelons. So from the time as far back as I can remember, self-reliance has been part of my life. So it's just continued on, and plus being raised in the Cold War. I mean, I was born in '68, being raised in the '70s. I remember my first grade teacher, kindergarten teacher talking about what to do if we see a flash outside the building. And kids just aren't taught that kind of stuff anymore. Oh, Zoe. And so
different times.
It's a whole different time. I mean, a whole different time. The kids these days, young people, they worry about nuclear war with North Korea. I mean, we grew up with a constant threat of nuclear war with Russia at any time. So all these people that, Trump's going to start a nuclear war with China, with North Korea, blah. We lived under threat of nuclear war for decades. It's okay. He starts a nuclear war with North Korea. And, I mean, it's not like they can really do anything. So anyway, what else, John? What else would you like to talk about?
Okay. What do you, I think I already know the question, or the answer to this. What short-term disaster is most likely in your area? I was thinking maybe flood and hurricanes.
Hurricane. See, my parents live down by the Gulf Coast. They live 20 miles. According to Google Earth, they live like 20 miles in a straight line off the Gulf of Mexico. Excuse me. Hurricane Ike, they got 9 feet of water in their house. My brother got like 4 feet of water. And it's just that the hurricanes are, one of the big problems down there. And then, of course, you have the chemical release from the refineries of Port Arthur or Beaumont. But that's not, unless a refinery blew up or something. Oh, Zoe. But anyway, so hurricanes.
Yeah. So, okay. That being said, what do you think the most likely worst case scenario facing us here in the U.S. is? I think every prepper kind of prepares for a worst case scenario, and it's usually EMP or something, or carnal mass ejection. But I mean,
my personal opinion, the biggest issue that we're facing is some type of communicable airborne disease, like a new pneumonic plague or viral pneumonic plague, something like SARS, or some type of, Zoe's moving the table. Zoe, quit. Anyway, where like we've got this such mass production of livestock, especially pigs, that if a pig were to catch some type of virus, like a flu, kind of like swine flu that happened back in 2009, but that pig could cause that, or chickens could cause that disease to jump cross species. And then we're dealing with a whole new disease that we don't have any resistance to, we don't have any vaccine to. So part of it is the mass production of our food with our pigs and our chickens. And that's what I think is one of the biggest problems facing humanity, is this cross species jump because of mass production and use of antibiotics. Is that who's to say that some disease like a plague, pneumonic plague or bubonic plague, is introduced into a pig factory, and then through the use of antibiotics on those pigs, that the plague doesn't develop some type of resistance to antibiotics, and then comes back to us, and then we have nothing to protect ourselves from it. So I think that's one of the biggest problems facing humanity right now. And if we go back to 2009, whenever swine flu broke out, President Obama did not close the borders. He said it would be too much of a financial impact. And so money is like, okay, well, you've got a new disease coming out we don't have any treatment for, no vaccine for, antibiotic resistance, and we're going to leave our borders wide open and let this thing just come right in because it's going to cost too much money to close the borders. And then the air travel, if something like that did happen, instead of it taking months to go by ship, now it can be in another country in a matter of hours. So I think that the mass air travel, the mass commercialization of livestock such as pigs and chickens, the overuse of antibiotics, I think these are all could play all factors in some type of new outbreak of a plague. And that's my main concern. That is my main concern.
Okay. That is, I was getting ready to mention that, like in 2009, when I was in Iraq, I had to take, was it the swine flu vaccination before they let me come back to the U.S.?
Yeah.
Since you mentioned it, I couldn't remember if it was swine flu or bird flu, but I think it called H1N1. I had to have that vaccination before I came back to the States on leave. Okay, FLP in the side chat. Here, Finger Lakes Express. All right. So, what's your favorite animal to hunt? Your favorite game animal?
Mine?
Yes.
I haven't hunted in a while, but my favorite is just small game. Like you get a deer or something, and just skin the deer, but just some type of small game. Just go along, get you a squirrel or rabbit, throw it in your pack and your hunting vest, and then just keep on going. They're easy to clean, easy to cook. You don't have a lot of meat left over. And the reproduction on the small game is a lot better. The reproduction on a small game is a lot better than on the bigger game. Because the rabbits, the rabbits reproduce crazy. In fact, I've got a rabbit habitat built inside my chicken yard. I've got a chicken yard. It's a half acre. And I piled up a whole bunch of brush inside the chicken yard. And now the rabbits go inside that chicken yard, inside that brush that I got piled up, have little babies. I've got more rabbits here on the farm than I've seen in 50 years, 40 years. So my favorite game would just be small game, rabbits and squirrels.
You know, one of the best rabbit habitats I've ever seen in this area has been the Christmas tree farms. We got quite a few Christmas tree farms in this area, and the rabbits love staying in the Christmas tree farms.
I wonder why.
I don't know. It's just an easy place for them to live, I think. But he's a Christmas tree farm. Rabbits. They survive pretty good in there for some reason. I think you're a big fisherman too. I was going to ask you, what's your favorite type? Let's see. Well, it says favorite type of fishing.
I like just freshwater. I like just about any type, whether it's bass fishing, cat fishing, perch fishing, just perch jerking. I like it all. Even catching the trap fish like a bowfin. You take those noodles, put your little piece of Vienna sausage on it, throw it out there by some lily pads, come back in a little while, and chances are, if you're in a slough or something, chances are you're going to have a bowfin on it, a griddle. I like it all. I like it all. In fact, I'm getting my. I'm hoping to get the boat back in the water this coming up weekend.
You catered for a big fishing trip this past weekend or something, or a big fishing tournament, right?
Yep. I was supposed to do a video about that, but I put the briskets on and pork shoulders on at midnight, cooked them for 13 hours. By the time I was done with that, I was exhausted. And then went home, got some sleep. Somebody stole my ice chest from that cookout. I went back Sunday, and some piece of trash. We had an igloo ice chest, small igloo ice chest, full. It had 2 pork loins, 2 6-pound pork loins, sausages, hot dogs, all kinds of stuff, probably 30, 40 pounds of meat. Somebody picked up the ice chest and hauled off with it. Took the whole ice chest, meat, and everything.
It wasn't a Yeti, was it?
No, it was igloo.
Okay. Yeti's a little pricey. But.
Yeah, that's a little out of my price range for a ice chest. I just stick with Coleman and igloo, stuff like that. Oh, Zoe.
I got a Walmart Yeti here.
What about you, John? You do any fishing?
Mostly trout. In this area, we're kind of limited on what type of fishing we can. The river, we got a new river. It's got catfish, some bass. You got odd stuff like what is it, walleye, and we got pike too, or is it pike? Yeah, I think it's pike. But
they had.
But
you're in Tennessee, aren't you?
No, Virginia. It's mostly trout fishing, freshwater trout. But
okay.
I don't know if I'd want to eat any of the fish out in the river.
Yeah.
But
something else I like doing is I like crabbing. I like to go down in them saltwater marshes along the Gulf Coast. I like to go down there and do some crabbing. I was raised right there along a salt marsh, a little place called Bridge City, Texas. And we go out there and we go crabbing, catching crabs. Big blue crabs. They've gotten a little bit small over the years. We'd catch some crabs used to in the 80s. The bodies would be like that big. Have a crab bowl.
I was going to ask you. A lot of the preppers get into the firearms thing. I was going to ask you what your favorite rifle is.
Favorite rifle for what?
I don't know. Favorite survival rifle.
Okay, my favorite is Ruger 1022. Ruger 1022. But I sleep with an AR next to the bed. So if the dogs go to barking at 2 o'clock in the morning, my favorite rifle is an AR-15 with a Surefire light on it and a red dot optic. If I'm out hunting small game, it's either a Mossberg 500 and a number 4 shot, 22 with CCI Stingers, and I've got a lever action 30-30 Marlin. But I've got more than that. I got a lot of fun. Anyway, those are the Mossberg, bolt action Remington 700, 1022, AR-15. Those are like my top 4.
I use I like to use 22 on schools, tear them up too. But I have to use a shotgun on rabbits too. Seems like.
Yeah. Well, we got those big pine trees, a lot of big longleaf and loblolly pine trees around here. We may have a fox squirrel 100 feet up in the air, and that 12 gauge number 4 shot helps bring him to the ground.
So you got box squirrels down there?
Yeah. We got a mix of cat squirrels and fox squirrels. We've got loblolly, red oak, pin oak, longleaf pine. You may see a cat squirrel, fox squirrel, top of a 100-foot tall pine tree. Big loblolly or longleaf.
I guess I ain't familiar with all those different types of squirrels. We just mostly got gray tails and few ground
Yeah,
squirrels.
yeah,
The
cat
fox
squirrel,
squirrel.
gray squirrel.
All right.
Yeah, gray squirrel, cat squirrel. I think that's the same thing. Same thing. Now, fox squirrel, that's a fox squirrel is like twice as big as a gray squirrel, cat squirrel. Fox
Yeah.
squirrel's like body on it be like that big. Just a couple of fox squirrels will make a good meal.
Yeah.
Red squirrel, that's what they call it, red squirrel some places.
Yeah, it's a big old squirrel. Like you said, it's about twice the size of gray tail, but
Yeah, but deforestation around here, and they like the old mature timber. And the fox squirrels are just far and few between now. Whenever I was growing up in the 70s, I mean, fox squirrels were common, red squirrels, as some people call them, they were common. I mean, we'd go out and go hunting and get a couple of them, and now you might see just one every now and then, one or two every now and then. They're just getting rare, especially around here. Other places, not so much. But they like that old growth timber. They like that old growth timber.
Like I can't. I think fox squirrel just kind of made an introduction in this area probably in the last 20 to 30 years. Before that, I didn't see them or didn't hear about them much. When I first started squirrel hunting, it was gray squirrels, but yeah, I never had seen a fox squirrel until probably about, I guess about 20 years ago. That's when I first started seeing them in this area.
Okay. Any of your viewers have any questions or anything? Or any topics? Not questions, just topics. Let's just talk.
Let's see what they got out here. Should people be looking? Mr. Liberty asks, what should people be looking for in resources off of land owned or purchasing land?
Water. Flood zone. They, I mean, without water, you're not going to. Life can't exist without water. I've got a creek that runs to the farm here, and I use that creek for irrigating my garden. If we don't get any rain, I take a sump pump and I put it down inside that creek, and I pump it from the creek straight to the garden. So nothing comes out of a well for my garden. It all comes out of a creek. So you can use that creek for livestock. My grandfather used to have a fence going across the creek. He tried to go out there in that creek, sand bottom. He'd draw a fence post down inside that creek, go over to a vertical bank where them cows couldn't go out. And then he'd open it up, the fence, and them cows would go down in that creek and drink. He never had to put water out for them. So one of the things I look for is water and location. Along the Gulf Coast, I wouldn't say anything closer than, say, 70 miles to the Gulf of Mexico or the Atlantic because of hurricanes. 20 miles inland. Remember that. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, I got my pretty big fish pond down here, but I got one garden I can't water with the it's hard to get a water hose down to, and I actually got rain catchment barrels. I usually carry one can down the hill, and then I get the rest of the water from it's been really dry here the past couple of weeks. I think this week it's supposed to start raining good, but
you take your sump pump, throw it off in that pond, and just let that sump pump, cause it's at the bottom, and just pump that water right on up to your garden instead of using a well or city water.
Yeah. Anybody else out there got any questions or
any topics? Let's just talk.
Yeah.
No issues underneath the table here.
One of my questions is, what do you believe the most important livestock to keep on a farm is for like survival situations?
I'd go with chickens and goats. Okay, to answer your question, if we really want to get into it, I do a lot of historical research and look at what people used in the Middle Ages, 1400s, 1200s, and what a lot of people used was geese, ducks, chickens, goats, sheep, pigs, a lot of your smaller animals. And that way, because they didn't have a way to keep the meat, the idea of jerking the meat or making jerky out of it, dehydrating, really hadn't made its way over to Europe yet. That was over in the Plains Indians, the North American Indians. But for some reason, people in Europe never figured that out. And so what they do is they take anything big enough that the family could eat at one setting, or invite some friends over, butcher, and eat in one setting. So anything like if you have a pig. So if you have a pig and you breed the pig and you get the piglets, whenever the piglets get up good size and you butcher the piglets out, and then you have nothing to waste. If you have a 1,000-pound cow, and you butcher a 1,000-pound cow, then you've got 500 pounds of meat or so that you have to put up, or that's going to go to waste. So anything that a family can sit down, that you could butcher a chicken or a duck or some geese, and then family could sit down, maybe with a couple of friends, and then eat that at one setting and be done with it, and not have to worry about wasting the meat. So goats, pygmy goats, anything like that. Sheep, then you have your goats for your goat milk, goat cheese, goat butter. The main purpose that cows served in the Middle Ages was for milk production. Cows were of no real value because once they died or they were butchered, you'd have to put up. They were a lot smaller than today's cows too, but you still had several hundred pounds of meat that you had wasted, or you had to bury. So, excuse me. So the most important types of livestock are something that is small, that can graze or forage, can wallow in your pond like your mallards, the ducks that you have, something like that. And that whenever you butcher it and you feed a family of 4, family of 5, maybe invite a couple of friends over, something that's not going to go to waste. And so that's what I'm focusing on, is just smaller livestock, not so much as cow for milk production, but that'll be later on. I'm working on a pole barn and fencing in some land for that. So what would be the best type of livestock? Something that if you're going to butcher it, you can eat it at one setting. But like where I've seen some videos where you live, I wouldn't even waste time with rabbits. I'm not going to waste time with rabbits. I got rid of my rabbits years ago because I've got rabbits out in the backyard right now. If I want a rabbit, I don't need to raise it. All I got to do is walk out in the backyard at night and get me a rabbit. So I don't even waste time with rabbits.
My thing was, the thing I like about chickens better than rabbits is with a chicken, you're getting eggs every day, where a rabbit don't produce nothing but poop until it's time to kill it.
Depending on the chicken's age, time of year, the amount of feed that it's getting. There's various factors: the breed, time of year, winter or summer, how much feed it's getting. But yes, that chickens will produce some type of food every couple of days, where the other animals don't. I mean, unless you're milking a goat, something like that.
Like last year, I only kept 3 hens, and 2 of them were yearlings. So in the wintertime, they were producing eggs, but after they get a year old, and the next winter they don't put out much of nothing. But 3 was for me is a good number, for as far as the eggs we eat versus and the cost of food and whatever. It seems like a really good number for me. But.
Yep. See, 3 or 4 good laying hens, your good breeds like your Rhode Island Red, your Barred Rock, your Australorp. Dominicker's okay. It's kind of a slow one. Your Buff Orpington's okay. But Australorp, White Leghorn, Rhode Island Red. I mean, you get you a couple of the good Rhode Island Red or Australorp laying hens, you're going to have some eggs. You're going to have some eggs.
Okay. Mr. Liberty.
Australorp.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Mr. Liberty asked how much land would be a minimal to own for survival.
Well, it's not how much land, it's how it's utilized. You get out on YouTube, there's some people that are raising like full-blown gardens on a quarter-acre land. And then you've got square foot gardening, composting. There's people out there that have got a few fig trees, a couple of pear trees planted in their backyard. So I've seen examples on YouTube of where people have got a fully functioning garden on a quarter-acre land, just big enough in their backyard. So it's not really how much land you've got, it's how it's utilized. I live on over 20 acres here, but a lot of it's wooded. And so a lot of it's just sitting there with trees on it. So it's not, and you reach a point of diminishing returns of where you work a full-time job and then you could only dedicate X amount of work to the garden. And you may plant 10 acres, but over a weekend, but that doesn't mean that you're going to have time to take care of that 10 acres. Doesn't mean that you're going to be able to irrigate that 10 acres whenever a drought comes. So if anything, I just something 200 or 300 feet long, 100 feet wide, something that long enough that you can string some garden hoses together and irrigate for water. So it's not how much land, it's how the land is utilized. Does that make sense?
Right. Like my property here is like 2 acres, but I got a catfish pond on it. I got some beehives, chicken lots. I got 2 gardens. So, and
I mean, you get you a couple of square foot gardens going on, get you some raised beds. I grew a garden one time. It was no more than say 20 feet wide and 30 feet long, and I had snap beans coming out of the garden. Tomatoes, cucumber, I had snap beans, squash, zucchini coming out of the garden almost every day. And it wasn't but like 20 feet wide and 30 feet long. I had so many cucumbers that I was taking them to work and giving them away, and I couldn't even give them away at work. Excuse me.
Yeah, I agree. It's how you utilize it. I mean, how
you take care of it.
I've got another 16 acres that I could put cattle on. I actually got it rented out right now, but I got a place if I needed to. So.
This is Bo. He's another dog that I rescued. Oh, shit. This is Beauregard. The behemoth, we call him. Say hi, Bo. All dogs but one are rescued here. Oh, Bo. And Bo, he came out of a little town called Kirbyville. Somebody dropped the whole litter off on the side of the road. And he had brothers, sisters, and they found a home for all of them but Bo, and I got Bo.
Yeah.
And Zoe here, she was living in a log with her brother on the side of the road as a puppy, and I picked her up, her and her brother. Zoe. So what about, John, you do anything with Mylar bags or number 10 cans, anything like that?
Actually, I haven't. So I kind of got behind in that area, I guess. But I do some like regular canning, but that's been about it.
The Mylar bags can be a little intimidating, but whenever you do it a couple of times, nothing to it. But if you do it, be sure to get I recommend getting the Ziploc bag, the Mylar bags that have got the Ziploc on it. You seal that Ziploc, iron it closed. In fact, on my stand for my camera, there are oxygen absorbers. That's what I've got my camera my phone propped up with is a bag of oxygen absorbers that I use for Mylar bags.
What's the what kind of oxygen absorbers do you put in each one of them bags? The oxygen absorber. Okay.
You're breaking up a little bit.
I just wondering what kind of oxygen absorbers you used in Mylar with food, but I didn't know for sure. But
I just get like these are 1,000 cc. If I'm doing a bunch of different bags, I buy one size oxygen absorber. I buy the oxygen absorber for the biggest bag, and I use it in all of them. Instead of buying a bunch of little ones, a bunch of different sizes, I just buy one size oxygen absorber and use it in all of them.
I seen on one of them Doomsday Prepper episodes, a guy was shooting some kind of gas in there or something, trying to take the oxygen out.
Nitrogen or argon. Argon doesn't. Yeah, like a nitrogen purge or something. I don't know. I don't mess with that.
I think so.
Yeah, I don't mess with anything like that, or nitrogen purge or anything.
So where do you think's an important vegetable crop to grow? What to do to a person the most good?
Oh man, that's a tough question. Spinach, okra, squash, zucchini. Probably your best bet is going to be your beans and your peas because they return nitrogen to the soil. Now, beans and peas go back like thousands of years, and they're very easy to grow. They're easy to store. You can dehydrate them. You can can them. So if I had to bet on one crop, just one crop, it'd be either beans or peas. And it's kind of blurred like which one, but snap beans, purple hull peas. Purple hull peas would be a good one. Anything like that. Squash and zucchini, you really can't can squash or zucchini. So it's one of those type that you grow and you eat right then, unless you dehydrate it. But any type of bean or pea is what I would go with.
Okay.
And potatoes. I'm sorry, I forgot potatoes. Anything see, back in the Middle Ages, people would take and grind like top of a corn they had over there, wheat, beans, peas. They take all that and grind it together and make a type of a flatbread out of it. Instead of just a wheat bread, because they may not have enough wheat to make full bread, so they'd make like a tortilla shell. They just take all this stuff, whatever they had, mix it in, grind it up on a grinding stone, and then make like a tortilla shell out of it. Buster, come on, Buster. Buster, come on. Buster, my black-mouthed cur. Not you. Buster, come here. Okay. Come on, Buster. Buster's real skittish. I found him on the side of the road too. Buster. But he's real skittish. So I would say, oh yeah, storing seeds. Did you see my article a while back last year about germinating decade-old seeds? Did you see that article?
I can't remember if I did or not.
Come on, Buster. Hang on just a second. Oh. This is Buster, my black-mouthed cur.
Yeah.
One of them. He picked him up on the side of the road. Anyway, people talk about how long can you store seeds for. I bought some seeds 2007. I germinated them in 2017, planted them, grew squash, snow peas, and sunflower seeds off of decade-old seeds have been kept in the freezer. Then I let it grow up, and here's Bubba. He's another black-mouthed cur. He's kind of a red black-mouthed cur. All right, everybody outside. Go, outside. Anyway, out. Outside. Anyway, where was I at? Oh, yeah. Then the squash, I quit picking it, and it grew up, and I took a bush hogged the grass down, then finished the year mowing it over with a ear. Now I've got squash coming up where those were growing, where the seeds were mowed into the ground. So if you take your seeds, put them inside of like a Ziploc baggie, get the air out of them, put them in a freezer, they will keep for years and years. Some people take and put them in a Mylar bag with an oxygen absorber, then put them in a freezer. But you can take those seeds and store them for a decade. Because I proved it with one of my videos.
Like storing seeds. Okay. So what's the best way to do that? Like store, like
Take your. What I do is I go to the feed store and I'll buy seed in bulk, and then take that bulk seed, like a pound of it, and put it into a Ziploc baggie. Get the air out of it, seal it, put it in the freezer.
Okay. There's always been debate about that.
No debate. It's I've got because in 2017 I grew a garden with decade-old seeds. And so just get as much air out of the bag as you can. And I've had at the end of the year, say October or so, September, October, a lot of these dollar store, Lowe's, Walmart, places like that made the clearance out their seeds. Instead of like 50 cents a pack, they'll be like 25 cents a pack. And I go and I stock up on that stuff. Samantha, door the freezer and bring me one of those Ziploc bags out of the door, please. Hang on just a second. Samantha's bringing me a bag, and I'll show you. So I take and I sort them. I sort my seed packets that I buy by like winter, fall or spring crops, and then like I sort all the tomato seed together, all the pepper seed together. Like that. Thank you. Like this is spices. This is a seed spice pack. I bought these last year and they've been in the freezer. So everything in here would be spices: cilantro, parsley, pepper, cilantro, pepper. And so what I do is whenever I buy it, it says 2 for $1, that I got these for like 25 cents at the end of the year. Got them on sale for like 3 for $1, 4 for $1. So then I would organize them into like spices, beans, peas, stuff like that. So if I wanted to plant some cilantro or spices, then I knew which bag to grab instead of having to dig through the bag. Then you just take and you put them in there and you seal them in a plastic bag, get as much air out as you can, and that'll stay good for a decade. Just like that.
Oh.
And put them in the deep freezer.
Deep freezer. All right, let's talk about potatoes. How do you store potatoes? What do you think is the best way?
I've always just put a layer of hay down, layer of potatoes, make sure they're not touching, layer of hay, layer of potatoes. A few years ago, I took bushel baskets, and I took a bushel basket, and put a layer of hay down, layer of potatoes, layer of hay, layer of potatoes, layer of hay, layer of potatoes, and I kept those bushel baskets in the storeroom in here. And I recorded the video on that, and I kept them for like 6 months in the storeroom, and they were still good whenever I took them out. And I recorded a video on it, and I formatted the memory card and deleted the videos. But I've kept potato store for 6 months just by using hay.
Okay. All right. I didn't know if you had a root cellar or how you done that.
Yeah, barn, cellar. I've had them out here in the tractor barn, just not even in a root cellar, just in a tractor barn. Take that hay, put it down, good dry hay, put it down, put a layer of potatoes, layer of hay, layer of potatoes, layer of hay, and they stay good like that for months and months and months, just in a tractor barn here in Southeast Texas. Through the summer. I mean, we harvest on them, in May or so, June, and they stayed good all the way to like December. We could have replanted them the next year.
Do our viewers got any questions, or ain't too many watching right now?
Or just a topic of discussion. Just name something. We'll talk about it.
Topic of discussion. Or you got any questions? Or?
Yeah, John, you should do some Mylar. Get in some Mylar, number 10 cans. Number 10 cans get expensive, but man, you start doing Mylar, You just get you those half-gallon Mylar bags, get you some 1,000 cc oxygen absorbers. Get those Mylar bags, they've got the Ziploc on them. Fill them up with some beans, throw the oxygen absorber in there, seal that Ziploc, and then iron it and melt that Mylar together. Man, it'll stay good for years and years and years and years. Just no animal byproducts. Dried foods, oats, beans, white rice, not brown rice. I've got homemade super pails. I got like 40 pounds of rice in, 40 pounds of beans. I don't even know how many oats. I've got like several 5-gallon buckets, super pail, 5-gallon buckets, homemade super pails. I've got things of macaroni and cheese, like big gallon things of macaroni and cheese that I put together years ago.
All right. What about what was it going to ask? The freeze dry food. You got any of that, or is there a certain brand you like?
I've got some number 10 cans, and I've got the 30-year pouches. I don't have a whole lot of the number 10 cans. I've got a few, and I've got a few pouches. My main focus is on like what you're doing with your mallard ducks, and you've got your fruit trees you planted. It's just renewable resources, renewable food sources rather than number 10 cans. So, yeah, I've got some number 10 cans. I've got some number 10 cans, and I've got some pouches, 30-year pouches.
I think the best way to keep food fresh is to keep it alive.
Yep, guaranteed.
My theory.
Guaranteed.
I got some catfish.
Yep, that catfish is good too. Fried catfish, man, that's some good stuff. What do you got in your pond? Like channel cat, high fin blue? What do you got?
I think they're channel cats. I bought them in Southern States a long time ago. There was a few that came from a local lake, and I know one of them was a big mud cat, and it was pretty big. I ain't seen them really big catfish in a long time. My niece is here fishing
get
a couple of days ago.
Go down to Lowe's or somewhere where they've got these Mexican chimney fireplaces, okay? And those catfish like to get up underneath, get inside something to spawn. And if you get you one of those Mexican chimneys, you want to talk about the big clay pot thing?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Something that's not going to rust. Take it out there and they sink it in your pond, and them catfish will get up underneath there and mate inside that chimney, and then they'll go and spawn. They like to get up inside of something while they're mating. But out in nature, they'd use a log. They'd use a log or something, get up next to that log or inside the log. And so what you're doing is you just sink in one of those Mexican fireplaces out there, and it gives them something to get up inside of. Or a piece of PVC pipe, a piece of culvert pipe. If you got a piece of like that black culvert pipe.
We were on this place before I did, sunk a few Christmas trees in there with cinder blocks.
Yeah.
Some structure, I guess.
That makes some good.
Down there one time.
I interrupted you. Go ahead.
I think my internet may be cutting out. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you sink them Christmas trees in the lake and or in the river, and perch. Perch go to it, and then the predator fish, like the bass, will go to the perch.
Mm-hmm. Well, we only got 4 people watching.
That's all right.
Any other subjects? That's good talk.
I'm gonna post it on my blog, and I'll post it in the forum, or you post it in the forum, and we'll get you some more subscribers. Okay?
All right. I appreciate it.
Hey, you're welcome, John. Hey, let me let you go. All right.
All right. Hey, man, it was good talking to you.
Talking to you. I'll talk to you later. Okay?
Yep. Bye.
Okay.
That was a good interview, babe.